Okay, so let me just post on social media before we start. Let me check the audio sounds okay. Okay, so let me just post. Okay, it sounds about right. Uh-oh, doesn't sound right. Uh, Let me just quickly post this. Okay, again, let me do this before we start. Just a couple seconds. Okay, okay, I'm gonna link my GitHub repository. I'm going to link uh, the YouTube stream. Okay, I'm going to add these hashtags because you know hashtags and the algorithm and our YouTube does all its recommendations. Okay, almost there, almost there. Just a couple seconds more. And okay. Perfect. I hope no background sound is being heard. And we're live. Okay, we're live. Social media posts are done and we can proceed. Okay, let's go ahead. All right. So, where we left? Where did we left? Okay, so as I remember, we were exploring the core AI technologies that we were going to be using. Um, we were reading this article from Google about AI agents. We determined that we were probably going to be developing an AI agent, right? But I also wanted to figure out a little bit more or explore a little bit more on other technologies. So I remember I asked ChatGPT about other technologies. What is this? Yes, I asked ChatGPT how do AI agents work, and we okay, we also determined that AI agent is almost the same thing as autonomous agent or agentic AI, except that agentic AI are more self-driven. It's just vocabulary, so we shouldn't we shouldn't take that much into account. Again, AI agents. That's what we're building, an AI agent. Anyways, I also wanted to read about this protocol, this MCP protocol or Model Context Protocol. Uh, what I know about it is that is like a protocol for to create like AI agents or agentic agents. Again, this is new. I think ChatGPT, OpenAI just released this protocol to open source. Well, not really. It says November 25, 2024, but I've heard about it until recently. So let's read about it and see how or what it is it, so we can determine if we can use it in our project. Again, um, says introducing the Model Context Protocol. Today we're open sourcing MCP, a new standard for connecting AI systems to the systems where data lives, including content repositories, business tools, and development environments. Its aim is to help frontier models produce better and more relevant responses. As AI assistants, okay, again, AI assistants, it's not using the AI agent vocabulary or those words. So we should take that into account probably. It says, as AI assistants gain mainstream adoption, the industry has invested heavily in model capabilities, achieving rapid advances in reasoning and quality. Yet, even the most sophisticated models are constrained by their isolation from data, yes, trapped behind information silos or silos and legacy systems. Every new data source requires its own custom implementation, making truly connected systems difficult to scale. Okay, MCP addresses this challenge. Okay, it says that it provides a universal open standard for connecting AI systems with data sources. What? It provides an open standard? Okay, so we're talking about open source standards to connect an AI system with data sources. Okay, fragmented integrations with a single protocol. The result is a simpler, more reliable way to give AI systems access to that data they need. Okay, so I think this is not what I thought it was. Uh, because okay, it's not what I thought it was. Because okay, so it's like some version of RAG of retrieval augmented generation, but in a more standardized way. I'm guessing. I think well, I've heard that, for example, Copilot Studio, no, Copilot Studio not, but Copilot, the Copilot from GitHub, like the Copilot agent from GitHub, uses this protocol to scan and parse a whole source code or source code base, a code base, and then like produce generative AI outputs. But I thought it also had something to do with being or training AI agents to be able to execute tools, because that's like my my question right now. Like, how do we get an AI model, an LLM, and in this case, an AI agent to trigger a tool, to call a tool? Because I understand, for example, how does RAG work? Because RAG is it's simple. You simply have like your LLM model, and then you have some data. Then what you do is that you embed it or you transform it into a format that the AI can understand. I think that has a word, actually, a concept. I don't remember what's the concept. So, anyways, if I remember, I'm gonna mention it, just, but not now. Okay, so MCP or Model Context Protocol is an open standard that enables developers to build secure two-way connections between their data sources and AI-powered tools. Okay, so we're mentioning tools again. But what about tools? It says, again, it says two-way communication between their data sources and AI-powered tools. Okay, so that says something. A two-way communication, meaning that the tool can communicate with AI and the AI with the tool. So the tool can call the AI. No, the other way around. The AI can call the tool. Okay, okay. It says the architecture is straightforward. Developers can there expose their data through MCP servers or build AI applications, MCP clients that connect to the servers. Okay, so there's a server client model. So we're talking, I'm very familiar with the server client model because, HTTP networking, I do have some background in like computer networks. So protocols and server client models shouldn't be any issues. It says, today we're introducing three major components of the MCP: the MCP specification and SDKs, and local MCP server support in the cloud desktop apps. Cloud, yes, I've heard about this AI, although I've never used it, never digging deep into it. I think we should probably. I also want to dig into this LM plus tools, Langchain, AutoGPT, and OpenAI functions because they sound like something we can use. Anyways, yeah, okay, so the MCP specification and SDK, so basically the open standard as it was like a standard from the IETF or the IEE. It says a local MCP server, support in the okay, and open an open source repository of MCP servers. Okay, okay. Model context protocol. A repository is okay. Oh my gosh, what is this? Why is this? This sounds so interesting. I think we might use this repository for something in the future. Okay, okay, yes. Sounds interesting. Interesting. Okay, so model context protocol. Let me give it this a read later. Again, you also have a ZK. Okay, so model context protocol. But is this by Open Anthropic? No, this is by Anthropic. I thought it was from OpenAI. Okay, so okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so we have this model context protocol and get this repository. Um, okay, you have a couple SDKs. Well, not a couple, but a few SDKs. You get like a specification, SDK for Java, Python, TypeScript, JavaScript, C Sharp. Okay, okay, yes, makes sense. This makes sense. You also have a Rust SDK. Do we have a? It would be great if we had a Go SDK. I'm a big fan of Go. Um, I don't see any Go SDK, not popular enough yet. But we can use Rust's or Python's SDK, maybe TypeScript SDK, and then in the future we can migrate to a more reliable solution if we were to make this more performance based. Okay, but you have the servers, the clients. Okay, let me forget about this for a second and continue reading. It says Claude 3.5 Sonnet is adept at quickly building MCP server implementations, making it easy for organizations and individuals to rapidly connect their most important datasets with a range of AI-powered tools. It says to help developers start exploring, we're sharing pre-built MCP servers for popular enterprise systems like Google Drive, Slack, GitHub, Git, Postgres, and Puppeteer. Okay, so this means that you have like the MCP servers, and the MCP servers are like let's call them like APIs. Like they're like analogous to REST APIs or whatever type of APIs, or it could be GraphQL, gRPC. It doesn't matter. It's not the case here. Okay, so as I'm understanding, you have like the MCP server, which is like an API, like some kind of it exposes APIs to access a system, uh, to trigger calls to a system, let's say, and then you have the client, which is like the actual LLM, or is it an LLM? I guess it's an LLM. It has to have some kind of LLM under the hood, or the Gen AI assistant, or the Gen AI model that's capable to of calling these tools. What I'm not sure is how do they make or how do they made how did they make it possible for an LLM to call this MCP server. What I'm guessing is that they have trained specific LLMs to be able to understand the MCP protocol, and it would make it somehow easy. Uh, yes, I guess it would make it somehow easy for the LLM to understand the MCP protocol and then call its APIs. whenever it wants using Gen AI reasoning. It says early adopters like Block and Apollo have integrated MCP into their systems, while development tools while development tool companies including SED, Replit, and Codem and SourceGraph are working on MCP to enhance are working with MCP to enhance their platforms. Okay, as it says enabling AI agents to better retrieve relevant information for further understand the context or a coding task and produce more nuanced or and functional code with fewer attempts. Okay, so yes, basically MCP, open source protocol, it exposes some APIs so LLMs can be um, or can have like say like the constraints to call the APIs in a Gen AI fashion. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, but there was no mention of the MCP protocol in this Google article. So I wanna do some more research and trying to figure out what are protocols or what are technologies are 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 there available on the internet. I'm also curious of knowing like if all are like open source because we don't know if they are open source. Well, at least I know the MCP protocol is open source, but I'm not sure if other protocols or other standards are open source. I'm also curious about knowing like okay, so we know there we have this protocol. It's a way to let LLMs call tools, but do we know like or are there any open source or publicly published, yes, LLMs that are able to call this MCP or are compatible with MCP? Because, you know, I know Llama, uh, models from Llama, Facebook Meta, they have some public open source models that you can download on your local machine and then you can use them as you please. But those aren't like the latest and greatest models. So I'm not sure. It says November 25, 2024. So this means that the model context protocol or these kind of agents have existed for some months now, like maybe 6 or 7 months. What I'm not sure is uh, which which models so are is if there are any open source models that we could use that are compatible with MCP or any other um, tool calling, uh, let's say, protocols. Okay, so let's continue reading. It's a 3 minute read, but okay, it doesn't matter. Let's continue. At Block, I don't know what is Block. Open source is more than development model. It's the foundation of our work, commitment, and creating. So it's coding. That I don't know how to pronounce this name. Danji R. Prasanna, the CTO of Block. What is Block? I'm not sure. Block company. I guess it's a company. It's a company that Block Inc. Okay, finance. Never heard of it. Okay, I'm gonna ignore it. Well, this guy, the CTO of Blog, it says that open technologies like Model MCP are bridges that connect AI to real-world applications, ensuring innovation, excellent, transparent, and rooted in collaboration. We're excited to partner on a protocol and use build to build agentic systems. Agentic, I like that word, agentic, because we're building MINA, which is my intelligent neural agent, an agentic system basically. Uh, well, all these concepts are very new, so I wouldn't worry much about using the like the correct concepts. Again, it says instead of maintaining separate connectors for each data source, developers can now build against a standard protocol As the ecosystem matures, AI systems will maintain context as they move between different tools and datasets, replacing today's fragmented integration with a more sustainable architecture. Okay, so this, okay, okay, yes. Okay, so this, let's say, this protocol makes sense because what I had in mind before was, let me draw it here on GIMP just to corroborate and check if it makes sense because, I don't know. And let me just open a new canvas. So what I had in mind before was that before the LLM, like the core LLM, you would have like an NLP layer, like an NLP layer. Yes, what I had in mind before, like discovering this agentic and MCP and all this technology, I had like this idea of having like an orchestration layer, let's say, of NLP orchestration, orch, like in orchestration, that would determine if something was a prompt or a command, and then if it was a prompt, then use an LLM to produce responses. If it was a command, then the idea was to call a tool, which is uh, basically this to execute a task or whatever. Now, this is very interesting because this MCP technology or the idea of agentic of agents instead of assistants, uh, they made like they the assistant or the AI itself more autonomous. So I wouldn't need like this NLP layer for orchestration. It would be unnecessary. Instead, I would have uh, let me make this bigger. Well, not I'm not gonna make it bigger. So this is like the model for assistants. Okay, and the model for agents is different because instead of having this NLP layer to then have this orchestration and determine like what type of prompt, what type of action do I want to take, instead I have like an agent with, which has its own like layers underneath, I guess. Because if I can make an agent simply, I don't necessarily need to connect. For example, in the left hand, if I had an LLM, I could have implement a RAG system, a retrieval augmented generation system, to connect uh, the LLM and give it information. But again, that would be it would be like it would be like a jump. For example, what if in step one from in the assistant flow, let's say, like the user asks for something that needs information from RAG, and then it executes data uh, from a tool. It would be like it wouldn't be that effective because it would need to go from NLP orchestration to LLM to get some information from RAG, from the RAG layer, and then if I want to execute some data from the tool, I would need to start a whole other process or trigger another process from RAG. Okay, so yes, okay, I get how RAG limits like this whole situation. Now AI agents or intelligent agents are different because there's no RAG here. I guess you wouldn't need any RAG system. I guess you wouldn't have the need for a RAG system when using uh, like for example MCP. Let's build here an MCP layer, MCP model. What was the name? Model context protocol. Because we didn't have like this client, the MCP client. Let's call this would basically called client. Okay, this would basically would that would call servers, which I'm going to uh, identify them with an S. So yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, I think we could take the idea of building a RAG system and connect it to a LLM. Like we can take that and throw it away because that's like an unidirectional or a one direction. Yes, it's like a unidirectional relationship between data and the AI. Now, the difference is that the MCP, as I'm seeing it right now, is bidirectional. So instead of only going from user to data, or from prompt to RAG, or from prompt to tool, you can go back and forth using the MCP client. Okay, this is very interesting. Oh my gosh, this opens lots of possibilities. I don't understand how this works, but this is really what? Okay, okay, it's really interesting. Really, really interesting. Again, let's continue reading about MCP because okay, I think MCP would be the way to go, but um, I really want to explore about how open is this open standard of MCP because I'm seeing that Anthropic are the ones who created that created like this protocol, and I'm not sure how like a multinational company would like to give it away just as it is instead of monetizing on it first. Again, this is a protocol. In the case we find that there are all these open protocols and we cannot use them because of their proprietary nature. We can replicate um, this protocol and kind of build like this version of or like this type of protocol for ourselves. Again, let's see what Anthropic suggests on getting started. It says that developers can start testing MCP connectors. Again, connectors meaning servers and clients. Okay, all Cloud AI plans. Again, okay, here it goes. Okay, so yes, they want to sell you like a subscription to something, I guess, to access this protocol. So our cloud plan support connecting MCP servers to the cloud desktop app. Okay, cloud for work customers. Okay, basically they open the implementation of this protocol on the products. Again, I'm not sure what Anthropic does. I know they have like this Cloud AI, um, like GPT version or LLM model, but I'm not sure uh, how they profit or how they fit in the open source on AI. Okay, so they have Cloud.net, which is like the their LLM model. They have an APIs. Okay, are they like a version of OpenAI, but for enterprise? Anthropic is an AI safety and research company. Okay, it's full profit. It's a company. Okay, they have some research. Uh, yes. Okay, so bunch of white papers, solutions. Let me see what kind of solutions do they have, because it said something about enterprise, but I'm not sure what kind of enterprise market are they targeting. It says cloud is not so secret advantage for world-class engineering teams and software companies.
Should we be doing like big smile or?
Okay, how can I?
No, why you big smile? That's
Okay.
creepy.
That's sort of what.
Okay, I'm gonna skip to whatever they have on their website. By the way, really nice looking website. I really like these colors. I really like the way that modern websites don't use like plain white, well, like a white color, because I don't know, it's not that easy for the eye. I think that's good that they use like this beige or this like really light yellow. I don't know, I like it. It says, okay, so experience frontier for model for coding. Okay, they have like a GitHub Copilot version, I guess. Write code with Claude. Okay, so yes, this. Okay, so they have like this auto completion plugin, I guess, for code editor, so you can um, code your way or vibe code. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about this new concept called vibe coding. Well, it's not that new, but it's somehow new. So the idea is that let me see if who invented vibe coding. So vibe coding is like a style of let's say programming or coding or software development where you basically have like a GPT or an LLM model, an AI, um, like write everything for you, and you only prompt or ask whatever like changes in the code to do, and the AI will do everything. It's like a really, I don't know, it's like a really, I think it's kind of controversial. It's like a controversial way to send AI tech to developers. It's something. Yeah, I think vibe coding or this style of coding or development will potentially not succeed at all. Will potentially like ruin a lot of like the coding or software development experience for most. Because although you can give AI like the full like enough context to build yourself an application, a game, whatever. It's not the same as having like an engineer, a software engineer, come up with ideas. Because AI is we aren't there. We aren't on the era where AIs are intelligent enough to produce or auto replicate or produce like like accurate output or at least in code. I mean, AIs are intelligent enough to make predictions and I don't know produce generative output, but not to produce code. We're not there yet. Uh, at least not in my experience. They tend to be very let's say they tend to be like very slow or they tend to get things wrong when the problem space is like complicated enough or when you don't have enough context, when you don't give them enough context. So yeah, let's hope that in the future uh, they get better with this. Anyways, uh, anyways, I already know what Anthropic does. Now let me do some more research on other MCP alternatives because this protocol, okay, it sounds okay on paper, but let me. I think I heard something about React or something called React Framework. Yes, here. Let me. Okay, yes. Let me read about framework, uh, but not that typical like React as in JavaScript and web development React. But I think React prompting. Yes, this is it. It says introduce a framework named React, where LLMs are used to generate both reasoning traces and task-specific actions and interleaved manner. Okay, before I get into this reading, because um, not sure if I want to read this yet. Let me ask ChatGPT. for more information or more protocols or technologies that are similar to MCP, because yep, we should take leverage from it. Okay, so let me ask it like, let me first check out this LangChain thing that is suggested, because I'm not sure what LangChain is, and I've heard it like in at my job a couple times, and I've also seen it on YouTube a couple times. By the way, just like on the first impression, I really like this website. I really like this animation. It looks pretty nice. I really like this style guide or whatever they have. It looks like pretty clean. It reminds me of how OpenAI had like another like OpenAI's previous design system. It looked nice. Let me check if if we still have it. No, they changed it. But OpenAI previously had a similar style system. It looked pretty nice. Anyways, it says LangChain applications that can reason powered by LangChain. It says from startups to okay, so it says it's a composable framework to build with LLMs. It's a framework. It says you have LangGraph, which is the orchestration framework for controllable agentic workflows. Okay, again, I'm seeing this word again, agentic. Okay, so agentic referring to the like the agent side of things, which is what we're trying to build, an agent. Again, it says run and deploy your LLM applications at scale with LangGraph platform infrastructure purpose built for agents. Okay, so again, another company who's trying to get some profit from you, the developer. So they offer a cloud platform called LangGraph, which I guess it's some kind of like some kind of platform built on top of AWS or some other kind of popular or GCP or whatever open like whatever cloud platform they're using. Okay, so they what they want to do is they want to sell you this cloud platform called LangGraph platform. Okay, okay, it says Langsmith. Okay, so the idea is with Lang. Okay, LangChain, Lang, whatever, Lang. Langsmith is a unified agent observability and evaluation platform to optimize and perform your AI agent. Again, another cloud platform. As a reminder, MINA or My Intelligent Neural Agent has a big purpose or has like the main focus on being totally open source offline without the needing to pay uh, for using it. So we're probably not going to use the LangChain platform. I think it doesn't meet or doesn't fit our needs. But let's read a little bit more about what they do. It says, okay, so I'm reading RAG agents, strategy and indexing. Okay, it says build your app with LangChain, build context-aware reasoning application with LangChain, flexible framework that leverages your company's data and APIs. Future-proof your application by making vendor optionality, okay, part of your LLM infrastructure. Vendor functionality. Does that mean that the vendor optionality is like referring to they as the vendor? Okay, I'm going to open this link and continue reading. It says run at scale with the LangGraph platform. Okay, again, trying to promote the cloud platform, which we're not going to use because MINA is open source and native to your operating system, to your system, and it shouldn't connect to the internet to reason. Again, so manage agents observability and performance with Langsmith, another cloud platform, as I'm seeing. It says, okay, so testimonies and then the reference architecture, enterprise adopt. Okay, okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is that I think this is a lot of data that they're a lot of information they're providing, but in a pretty disorganized way. So I'm gonna ask quickly this guy, my best friend ChatGPT, to explain. Okay, to explain on this technology. So, uh, please explain. Please explain agentic AI and autonomous agent technologies in detail. Include, and I'm going to tell it to include this and MCP. Why not? So valid reasons and okay, that was quite fast. It says, okay, okay, so it says, okay, it says what makes an AI agentic or autonomous, understand goals, plan and use tools for APIs. That's like my main, like, what, like, what triggers my curiosity. Like, how do you make an AI model, which it's supposed to be, or at least to the furthest of my knowledge, it's supposed to be like a text only or an unidirectional technology. How do you make it like a bi-directional and make it call APIs? That's what really kills my curiosity, or what not what kills my curiosity, but what triggers my curiosity. Okay, to do all this, an AI typically uses a loop of perception, reasoning, action. Okay, this is a LangChain agent framework for tool use and memory. LangChain is a Python and JavaScript designed for building LLM-powered applications that involve reasoning, memory tool usage, multi-step chains of thought. Key components: you have agents, which use LLMs to decide what action to take next; tools, Python functions, APIs, file system, etc. The agent can call; chains, pipelines of steps or prompts. Okay, I don't know what is that. Then you have memory. Okay, LangChain enables chatbot that call tools. Okay, that's what really triggers me. Then it says document question answering with RAG. Okay, again, same. It's very simple. I do know how RAG works because RAG is RAG. But the thing about calling tools or AI facing external systems, that's like really interesting. And I don't understand how that works. It says you also have AutoGPT, autonomous goal-seeking agent. AutoGPT, is it from? Let me check something. Is AutoGPT part? No, it's not part of OpenAI. It's an open source AI agent. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So what's keeping me from using AutoGPT instead of creating MINA? It says was one of the first public examples of an LLM agent that runs autonomously. It's built on top of GPT and other LLMs. It uses tools, it evaluates results. Okay, tech stack. It uses LLMs. Like, okay, okay, self-directed. You give it a goal and it figures out how to achieve it. Then you have OpenAI function calling. It's a GPT. Okay, again, is a feature in GPT-4 where you define functions like weather. Okay, okay. So I think I've heard of this. I think I've even used it um, at my job. I was using like Azure OpenAI LA models, I think, some quite ago, and I was exploring the technology itself, and I found out something like this, although I never used it. Okay, but again, makes sense. But it's like it has like the constraint of being a GPT model, probably OpenAI's model. Again, definitely OpenAI's model. But I'm not sure how does like or how do OpenAI handle like open source models? Like, can I download like the model itself and run it on my system? Not sure. Um, and safer than arbitrary code execution, combines reasoning with deterministic logic. Okay. Ideal for agents with okay MCP, the multi-agent collaboration protocol, or um, MCP refers to the multiple agents with specialized roles. No, I'm not talking about this protocol. I was talking about the. Wait, I'm gonna ask again. This guy. I'm talking as if it was a person. I was referring to MCP as clots. No, this is not clots, but anthropics, um, anthropics, anthropics model context protocol. Detail in this again. Talking about the MCP from multiple agents collaboration protocol. Again, I didn't know about this. It says okay. So we read a couple days ago about multi-agent models or multi-agent agents, where you can have like like multiple agents collaborate. Okay, so I guess this is like an open protocol for that. It says, okay, yeah, I think, okay. So basically, you have LangChain, which is a framework for chaining LLM tools, AutoGPT, which is a self-directed LLM, OpenAI Functions, which is like the OpenAI version of MCP. It says OpenAI to safely exploit backend capabilities, LangChain to build minimal clone. Okay, uh, okay, okay, got it. Anthropics model. Okay, no, okay. It says so. The model context protocol (MCP) is a protocol by Anthropic. Okay, we just read about this, so we don't need to read about this more. Analyze that prompting alone is okay. So okay. Okay, what I'm curious is to get to know how open is this protocol. Okay. Core concepts of MCP is based on the idea of structure. Okay. I don't need to know about the protocol itself now. I just need to know if I can use it. Functions defined in a scheme, explicit hook on resolve. Okay. Memory support. Okay. Uh, okay. So I'm reading that MCP is modular and extendable. Okay. It's auditable. It has native long-term memory, explicit long handling, and okay. Why MCP is important for agentic AI? So MCP provides scalable modular foundation for building LLA. Okay, okay, yes. Again, the idea of having MCP really like makes me excited. I guess the idea of having MCP as an open protocol that we can use sounds like really like we could really leverage it. Not sure how exactly, but let's let's dive deep. Let's like dive deeper into MCP, or let's just first check out other protocols because I really want to know about this React prompting. I really want to know. What I really should know is about agentic AIs or autonomous agents, because ChatGPT answers with some information, but I'm sure there is some other information that I'm missing. So let me just skim this article pretty quickly and then jump all the way to MCP or other protocols. Okay, so it says React prompting. What is this? Introduced a framework named React where LLMs are used to generate both reasoning traces. Okay, Okay, so Zhao et al. 2022. Okay, some guy at some university introduced this protocol. It says generating reasoning triggers allow the model to induce, track, I don't know, etc., etc. How it works, React inspired by the synergies between acting and reasoning. Okay, this is a white paper basically, and I'm not reading this. So let me ask um, let me ask this guy, my best friend ChatGPT, to explain about this protocol. So please explain the React. Okay, so please explain the React framework compared with MCP and explain explain any other este, protocols slash standards slash technologies slash ways to build este, agentic AIs. Okay, okay, so okay, React, Reason and Act, MCP, or other protocols and technologies. Okay, okay, so there are quite some technologies here. Okay, you have like the React framework, which is what I've initially asked for. It says originally introduced by researchers at Google and Princeton, React is a prompting-based pattern for LLM agents. It teaches LLMs to reason, act, then repeat this loop until a goal is reached. Okay, so it's a prompting-based pattern. Okay, so it's a way to train a model. Again, okay, so probably I'm guessing that the models that use MCP like use this way to or were trained with this framework probably. Simple React prompt and it says, "What is the capital of the country where?" Okay, okay, it makes sense. Thought, action, observation, repeat. Thought, action, observation, repeat. Okay, key features, chain of thought, tool use. Okay, MCP is a structured protocol like an agentic operating system. It breaks down LLM interactions into explicit message types. Um, I really think we are going to use MCP. Okay, again, it's a new thing. It's modular, but it's debuggable. Excellent for enterprise safe agents. Pairs well with okay. Tooling isn't as widespread as LangChain or React. Okay, other agentic frameworks. Okay, so I have this React, like say, I don't know how to even call it. Like, what is it? Like a training model or like a training protocol, or like a training technique. Let's just call it training framework. It's like this framework to train an AI. Okay, then you have the MCP protocol, which is like a more structured way of interacting with between AIs and actions or AIs and data in a bi-directional way. Uh, it's tightly coupled to Claude. Oh, oh, it says that this is tightly coupled to Claude, but okay, that's a big limitation. Okay, because if it's a big limitation, it depends on how tightly coupled it is. Uh, this could be a no-go for MINA, because again, we're not using cloud infrastructure to call any kind of AI service for this project. So um, let's give it a read. So it says other agentic framework protocols. We have LangChain. Okay. Which we okay, we already read about LangChain. Build multi-plans with patterns like React. Okay. Maintain memory. Okay. Um, okay. Okay, okay. OpenAI function calling. GPT models can now trigger predefined functions, which is ideal for structured tool use. Okay, interesting. So GPT models cannot trigger predefined functions. Again, I saw this, but I'm not sure if I like this because OpenAI function calling. I mean, it's not defining like an API or like an interface. So the AI model or the LLM uses a tool. It's defining explicit like code. It's defining like explicit like Python code, which I'm not very happy about it, or I'm not that excited about it because I don't want to tie myself to using Python to so my AI model can call a tool. I want it to be standard, non non Python way, like a standard way. So I don't really like, or I don't think I like the OpenAI function calling, although it has the advantages that the GPT models can now trigger the functions. So that's the thing. Uh, okay, and I know there are GPT models that are open source, so that's an advantage. Then you have Autogen, which I've heard of, which is have I heard of this? Yes, I guess I have Autogen. I think Microsoft also has something called Agentic or AI agent. Microsoft AI agents. Yes, exactly this. No, I'm gonna. Oh, this is another article about AI agents, but I think I already know enough about AI agents, so I'm gonna skip this article. But I know there's this new like technology, like a no-code platform that these guys were developing, but I'm not sure about it. So let me AI framework for building AI agents and applications. I'm guessing, not sure, that this uses some kind of GPT model. Or okay, no, it has different adapters. You can use the OpenAI assistant, the line chain tools, or gRPC. Okay, so it's not tied to any. Is it tied to like an AI agent platform or cloud platform? Okay, okay. Let's ignore this for now. It says just it just says it's a framework for building multi-agent systems with LLMs. Each agent can have a role. Okay, so it's again the type of AI agent that has multiple agents in it. Strengths, reach. Okay, not reading this. Crew AI. I think I've also heard about Crew AI. Have I? Let me let me read first here. It defines. Okay, okay. Hugging GPT, open source. Again, another GPT, Hugging Face Free Space by Hugging GPT. Another other people trying to develop a Jarvis like system. It says Jarvis, a system to connect LMs with ML community. It says Hugging GPT, language servers as an interface for LLMs to connect numerous AI models for solving complicated tasks. Again, this is interesting. Why? Why is this interesting? Task planning, model selection. Again, okay. Think we could steal some ideas from these guys and use it for our own benefit. probably. Uh, Create a multi-agent. Okay, I'm gonna ignore this thing. Semantic kernel. Okay. So okay, pretty nice. We have a table comparing all kind of agentic AI architectures. Okay. So if you want to prompt an agent to think and act simply, React. So okay, so this is a good starting point. The React framework, not React as in just React, but as in reaction and act. Again, if I want to build a robust, safe, traceable agents, I could use MCP and Anthropic's platform, but again, I don't want to tie this project to any cloud platform. I could also use tools, memory, okay, LangChain, but again, LangChain is using a cloud platform. Um, Again, I think, okay, okay. Uh, okay, so I already know I have the list of technologies that I could use. Mm, okay, so for example, this AutoGPT, Hugging GPT, whatever, it uses language servers like the LSP protocol to interface LLMs, which is pretty interesting because I would have never thought of using the LSP for something like AI integration. Um, okay, it says task planning, model selection, task execution. Okay, I might need to change some things, or I might to revise this in depth, maybe offline, because I will have to give it a big read. I'm going to, the thing is, the thing that I'm saying here is that I think this model uses, this kind of technology uses OpenAI function calls because they're using OpenAI ChatGPT, OpenAI ChatGPT, so that makes me worry, or that it makes me feel uncertain because not sure how not sure how extendable can calling Python functions instead of defining like a protocol like MCP is. Not sure, but again, I won't discard it for now. So, GPT listed these agents. So let me just check first. I'm very curious to know how open is the MCP protocol. So let me just ask ChatGPT because it's easier now and I have it directly here. So, okay, okay, for example, let me ask or dig in to Claude's LLMs. Is Claude uh, Claude LLM open source? Let's say open source, which I don't think so. Okay, okay, Claude is not open source. Okay, and the only way to use Claude is via its API. So I think that's a no-go. But just let me ask something. Let me. I'm very curious to know if the MCP protocol is only like again. Oh, that's a shame because MCP. sounds like really exciting. Again, let me ask, uh, uh, can MCP only work with cloud models? No, MCP is not strictly limited to cloud models, but right now it's designed to Anthropic's cloud models. Since MCP is a structured protocol that defines how AI models interact with tools, memory, and orchestration, in theory, again, in theory, it could be adapted to work with other LLMs like GPT, Llama, Mistral, open source models. Okay, so it could use MCP if I implement an MCP compatible API layer that routes requests to an LLM. The target model supports a structured I/O. You build an MCP compliant wrapper around models like GPT, Llama, or Mixtral. It says now if you're relying on Anthropic's native API, which is MCP first, the target LLM doesn't support. Okay, how did it adapt MCP? Use a middleware layer, map function calling. Again, I think, although I'm not like that, let's say, um, I think function calling from OpenAI is not like the most exciting thing to work with or the most um, like the most shiny thing to work with. I think that's the path we're going, or the path we will take. Handle memory injection via embeddings, okay. Because again, I could try to, again, why am I trying to, I could just simply make my own protocol. It would be even fun, it would be even more fun to try and create my own protocol. So again, uh, what I'm seeing here is that I'm hearing about LangChain. For example, you have structured messages, yes, yes, yes. I think I overviewed LangChain. I think I underestimated LangChain because as I'm seeing in this table, LangChain sounds pretty interesting. Sounds looks like a fit right now. Supports chains threaded. Okay, MCP limited. LLM agnostic. I mean MCP is built for cloud. Then OpenAI function calling. It's built for GPT. But LangChain, on the other hand, can support any model. If tool call MCP messages, MCP to OpenAI, tool call name. No, I mean, poof. I don't think MCP is the way to go. Should you use MCP if you're not using Cloud? Even if full auditability and unstructured context, yes. If you need function calling OpenAI or LangChain. I think LangChain is the simpler solution. Again, also, I was thinking, like, this kind of development thing we're doing right now. Okay, it would be that wise if we implemented like the full blown, let's say like production version of 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 the tool or the AI on the first try. I think we should probably make like a first draft or like a MVP or like a POC version first on like some simpler technologies like Python, let's say, and all these already existing libraries, and then when we're going to let's say like develop production like the more production based application or tool or AI, I probably use different technologies that focus more on performance and scalability and probably code quality and developer experience because developing Python It's not like the best developer experience there is, but yes. Okay. Anyway, SCP isn't okay. You can adapt it to work with GPT, Llama, Mistral, etc. Okay, I underestimated. I think I underestimated this LangChain thing. So let me ask ChatGPT about LangChain more. How does LangChain work? Is it open source? Can I use it without connecting to the internet? LangChain is open source and can be used completely offline if you're running local LM like Llama, Mistral, GPT-4 or okay. Again, that's what we need because we're building this native AI that should run in theory on your machine or your computer without the need to access the internet. So, okay, so that's an interesting thing. It says LangChain is a framework for building AI agents. What are we doing? Designed to connect LLMs, use tool or functions, APIs, databases, custom code. Okay, I like that. And store memory, conversation history, vector databases, orchestrate complex tasks using multi-step logic. Think of it as the glue layer of for AI apps. Okay, so I'm guessing I can view it like an orchestrator, some kind of orchestrator, I guess. Okay, so it's launching key components. You have LLMs, which has connects to local or cloud-based LLMs, which we are going to connect to local LLMs. Now that I'm thinking it, connecting LLMs locally or using local LLMs would limit somehow like on what devices can MINA run because LLMs are quite let's say resource intensive. So let's say your regular user using a Dell laptop, an old Dell laptop wouldn't be able to run an LLM if the LLM is requires enough resources for it. For example, if it's like a bit heavy or if it's an LLM heavy on video resources or on audio resources, I'm guessing that a computer using NVIDIA would be a better fit than your your regular laptop uh, video driver or video graphic device. Okay, so you also have okay, so if I keep on reading this, you have the LLMs, you have chains, which are sequence of multi-steps, user input, model call, tool use. Again, I think these are like threads or conversations. So, okay, they have agents, which makes LLMs act dynamically, decide when to call tools, retrieve memory. Okay, yes. Again, the agent is the thing that we're using. You have tools, which are APIs, functions, code execution, and RAG tools. Okay, that's what we need. You have memory, which stores past interactions for long-term conversations. Again, that's a thing we need because we don't want like you talking to Mina, like prompting or asking for something and then Mina forgetting about it immediately. Wouldn't be wouldn't be a useful tool or a useful AI in that case. And also have retrieval, okay, which enables RAG using vector stores. Okay, is LangChain open source? Okay, yes, it's open source and it's MIT license, which casually aligns with Mina's open source license because I created Mina and I assigned it an MIT license to it, so that's a thing. Okay, so can LangChain work offline? Yes, but uh, some conditions. Okay, you must use a local LLM like Llama or Mistral or GPT-O. I'm okay with that. I mean, the idea is not to use any cloud LM. Then I can't use APIs like OpenAI, Cloud, or Google with the internet. Okay, I think that's makes sense. Then you can store memory retrieval using SQLite or local vector database. Again, that's the idea. The plan is to not use any type of SQL or I mean SQL, like any type of a like internet service. So I'm okay with using SQLite. I like using SQLite. I've used SQLite. I've even deployed applications using SQLite. So I'm pretty comfortable with it. Then local vector databases like Fa FAS or FACE and ChromaDB. I've never worked directly with vector databases. I do how they work. They store like vectors on embeddings and in its like raw format. Again, nothing to worry. Okay, line chain LLMs comparison. Okay, it says okay. It's okay. I like this table. Okay, comparison line chain versus other agentic frameworks. Is it open source? Yes. Do you have offline use? Yes. You have multi-agent. It's limited. Again, do we need multi-agents right now? Not really. Not sure. Again, I'm gonna skip that. Then you have tool use. Yes. Okay. So everything can use tools. Every framework compared here. MCP can't is an open source and can be used live. Neither do OpenAI functions. They are an open source. They are online and do can have multi-agent support. Again, interesting here because the one framework here that has the whole columns or the whole rows checkboxed is the Origin, which again, I don't know what really Origin is. And I think that could be a go-to solution. Again, I'm going to discard completely MCP, Origin. Okay, so MCP bye to MCP. I'm gonna keep uh, I'm gonna keep LangChain, this LangChain technology. I'm gonna keep Hugging GPT. I'm gonna keep Origin. Okay, because yes, then should you use LangChain? Yes, if I want to open source a flexible framework. Okay. Yes, if I need offline LLMs and local RAG. Yes, that's true. That's what I need. And no, if you're building multi-agent system, better use QAI or Origin. Okay, so I also have QAI here. Okay, which also has everything checked by this guy. So let me keep this here. Okay. Okay, no, okay, it says no if you just need simple API-based function calling. That's not what we need. We need more interactive stuff. So no. Uh, Want help setting up an offline AI agent with LangChain? Okay, I can guide you through Mistral plus LangChain plus local RAG. Not yet. Need a LangChain plus Go wrapper. I can draft a structure. That's the thing, right? Like, okay, LangChain has a Python SDK and JavaScript and TypeScript SDK, I guess, or libraries for whatever. But I'm not sure if that's what I want, because, oh, um, not a big fan of those languages. Would prefer build something in uh, not C++ or nor C, but maybe SIG or even Go or even Java. But I'm not the biggest fan of interpreted languages. So yep. But again, uh, it's late. It's 10 p.m. where I am. Okay, I think it's okay. Today was pretty productive, at least in terms of research. Not no implementation yet, but we at least discard some technologies. We define what type of AI we need for the core AI layer. Uh, we selected some technologies that we should deep dive into just a little bit, just to give an assessment, or just to do like a small assessment and determine if it's like the right fit for us right now. I'm really looking forward to using LangChain, but again, it has this limitation of multi-agents. Not sure if we want or we need a multi-agent or if we need MINA to be a multi-agent. So I'm gonna check Autogen and QAI on the next stream. I'm also going to check Hugging GPT because it sounds interesting. Again, it defines its own like its whole like protocol. So that's for next time. We learned so well. We have learned about AI agents and agentic things, and I think we can leave it till there. We can leave it till now because it's getting late, and tomorrow it's Friday. Need to work, and probably you too. So I'm gonna end up stream in seconds. I'm gonna end up stream now. Bye. Bye. Adios.